everybody, Lori here for My Favorite Things. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've got a couple of fun projects to share with you using the new Wish Big Today and Big Happy Birthday Dynamics dies that just came out in the latest July release with My Favorite Things. And I'm going to show you a couple of cards. They're clean, simple, colorful, ready to party, and we're just going to have fun. I'm starting with the Wish Big Today Dynamic, and I'm die cutting it into some kind of light peach cardstock. I'm using an array of solid color cardstock. You could just do this out of white. There's a lot of fun techniques you can do with these dies. You can make them as simple as can be. You can zhuzh them up to the high heavens. You can make them a shaker if you back them with acetate. You can do some ink blending behind it. I'm going to just do some strips of cardstock. So I have that peach panel, and then I have three different shades. One that's going to go behind the Wish, one behind the Big, which is some glitter gold, and then like a hot pink that's going to go behind the Today. So I'm adding some strips of foam tape. These are like pre-trimmed strips of foam tape, because dimension is life. You don't have to add foam tape, but it gives it that little bit of shadow that lights my fire, and it just adds a little bit of interest, but totally optional. You could also back, like I said before, you could back this panel with acetate before you add the foam tape and make it a shaker. And you could still add these strips of solid color cardstock and still be a shaker. So again, lots of ways you can customize it. But this one here is very, very simple. I mean, it came together in about 3 minutes. So all this excess that's hanging off the sides, I'm going to trim that with my scissors. A lot of times I trim it with a paper trimmer, but I had the scissors handy, and you know what it's all about, using the least amount of energy. Okay, so trimming off that top, being careful not to trim too much, but just enough. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of adhesive. You don't need more foam tape because it's already popped up. So you just want to adhere this to a card base. I already trimmed it a little bit smaller than a standard size card because I just love that bit of border around the edge. Again, that's an optional detail, but I like that one. Now here's the big debate, whether or not to add the innards. Some people like to add the innards, and I know that's not the correct technical term. I think the term is counters, but I like to call it innards because I'm a redneck. Okay, so I'm adding the little innards to the bee. Now I popped in the bee that fell out, and that shows me exactly where to place the innards. And I think there's not a whole lot of counters in this card. The B, and then there's the O and the D and the A on Today. Again, you could leave it open. It's totally, it's kind of a controversial topic. I kind of like it open, but my daughter, she's like, Mom, you got to add it in. So some people have very strong feelings about it. Now, the little counter on the A is such a teeny little triangle. I just didn't have the energy to try to fit a smidge of foam adhesive behind that. So what I did was I die cut three little counters, triangle counters out of white cardstock, and then I topped it off with that peachy colored one. So 3 out of white, topped it with the peach, gives it that same illusion of dimension, but not the tears, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, so this card's finished. Again, I could have added some embellishments. Didn't feel like it needed it. I just wanted to keep it clean and simple. Now, I went a little bit crazy. I actually ended up making 3 cards, and I never do that. But I got double-minded, and you know how it goes. You just keep going. These are so simple, you could really pump out a lot of them. So this one here, I die cut the, what is this called? The Big Happy Birthday out of some navy. And then I just trim little scraps in rainbow order for each letter. And I'm going to try to die cut as many of these at once as I can. So I'm kind of laying them over the letters. You got to think ahead where you want your color to go. If you're particular about your rainbow order, which I am very particular about the rainbow order. Again, I'm using an array of solid color cardstock. Just pulled it out of my stash, just rifling like a mad woman trying to find the right combination of colors. So I think this took me 3 passes, which is not too bad considering how many letters and different colors there are. And it didn't take a lot of cardstock either. But if you want the detail, if you want the color, if you want the happy, you got to do it. You just got to do it. And I really did love how this turned out. But I had one more third idea that I just was like itching to try. I just wanted to see if maybe, I always like, what if this idea is better than the last idea? You know, what if I really blow everyone's mind with that idea? And if I don't try it, you'll never know. See, it's like a mad scientist. So I'm backing a panel of white cardstock with a bunch of tape runner. Just tape the whole shebang down. I'm going to tape down that navy panel, and then I'm just going to pop in all the letters. Nothing's really getting popped up. It's all flat. So this is a great one for mailing, except for I think I do end up popping this panel up, but you could just adhere it flat onto a card base, and this would be one happy mail-in birthday card. It's big and bold. You got the color. You got to make sure you save all your little counters from the navy that I have up there in the top right, so we can pop those in. Now this one has quite a few counters. There's 3 with the happy, 3 with the birth, and then 2 with the day. And so if you want to keep it, of course it actually doesn't look too bad leaving them white now that I look at it. I could have just left them white, but I decided to pop in the navy ones. This card, again, came together almost as quick as the first card, although there was a little bit of die cutting. But look at how easy this is fun. Now, I will say the tool of the day is the little picker-upper embellishment wand. That thing comes in so handy when you have all these little intricate pieces. Okay, so like I said, I did add a little foam tape on the back to pop this up, but if you wanted to just lay it flat onto a white card base, it would look just as good. And there's one. Now, the third and final idea that I thought would really just be the turning point of my whole career is I had to do a little thing called a strip it up. So again, I went with the navy because I feel like those rainbow colors just come alive with that navy panel. Again, I'm using the Big Happy Birthday Dynamic, covering a panel of white cardstock with tape runner. You could use liquid glue. I just had the tape runner. It's easy. Now I trimmed a bunch, like a lot of strips of solid color cardstock in various widths. I like that variation on width. Some thicker, some thinner. You know I'm going in rainbow order because it's happy. It makes me happy. I never, ever, ever, ever get tired of it. And as it's coming together, I just feel my day getting better. I don't know about you, but you look at this spectrum and your day gets better. And that navy going over it, it's like the perfect neutral. It's like the perfect pair of jeans, which I don't own, but one of these days I am going to find the perfect pair of jeans. I think the problem is I keep changing sizes, and I ain't going smaller, let me tell you. Oh boy. It's a never-ending battle, isn't it? Growing older, growing thicker. Okay, I needed one little smidge of some dark purple down in that corner, and I'm just trimming off that excess. And now you could add that navy panel right on top, but of course you know I had to pop it up to give it that bit of shadow. And then just popping this over that stripped up background. And then the controversial topic, to add the counters or not. What do you think? I'd love to hear your opinion. Now for this one, I kept it real simple. I just adhered them with liquid glue, no dimension, keeping it stress-free. I mean, it's July. She's getting hot. You don't have to stress it out. You know, we're going to do a birthday party. We got a birthday party coming this week. And my daughter Emma wants to do like a little swim, invite a few friends over, and we live on a little pond, and they're going to have a little swim luncheon on the pond. Now the problem is some of our pond is starting to get duckweed on it, and that doesn't look real inviting. So we're trying not to stress about it. I don't know if we can get rid of that before the party. A little bit of adhesive, but we're going to have some little sandwich. She's very particular about the snacks. She's like, Mom, I want the little licorice nibs. I want plain M&Ms. I want regular classic Doritos. And I want Sour Patch Kids and and I want Coke. Very specific, but hey, I like a girl that knows what she wants. Okay, so what do you think? Card number 1, card number 2, or card number 3 with the strip it up? Do you have a favorite? Do you think this one blowed your mind? Or, you know what, sometimes I think you should just stick with the first one and be happy with it. I don't know, but I like them all. A lot of things you can do with these 2 new dynamics from the July release. Check it out with My Favorite Things. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.